Behind me, these ruins were considered the Basilica of Saint Mary, and the third council of the Christian bishops, known as the Third Council of Ephesus, is where it was decided that Mary was or was not the mother of God, mother of Jesus. But was she mother of Jesus as a man or mother of Jesus as a God? Well, that was decided here in Ephesus, Turkey. The gathering was put together by Roman Emperor Theodosius II in 431 AD. There was a bishop named Nestorias who believed Mary was the mother of, the bearer of Christ, the mother of Christ, but not mother of God. There was distinction. And he also had this kind of strange belief that, kind of crazy, that Jesus was two entities. So you have Jesus the man and Jesus the God. And so he kind of went against a lot of the bishops, and they met here to discuss what mother would be considered. And a lot of people were like, it kind of goes back to Jesus being considered God in the first council of Nicaea that I mentioned in this video above here. Yeah, very interesting. So over the years, they're still having conversation. I think it was 100 years later after the first council of Nicaea, they're still trying to figure out all the specifics of Christianity. The church is dated to the 5th century. They believe it was built for the Council of Ephesus, the Third Council. It was built on a Roman basilica, and there's also inscriptions about a synagogue here, which show that there was a Jewish community in Ephesus, and the Jewish community had a synagogue here. I don't know how big it was, but there was definitely signs of a small group of Jewish people in Ephesus. You hear about pagans and Christian, but maybe there's a small sect of Jewish people. And in fact, in the library in Ephesus, which is not too far here, just behind me, a small inscription on the steps up to the library, there's a Jewish symbol representing the menorah. So that's very interesting that, these religions kind of merge together, but then separate. So another interesting point is that Jesus, mother of God, or Jesus Christ, as they decided here, I'll get to later in the video, was that, in Ephesus, they believed in goddesses and deities like Artemis. And before that, they had the fertility gods that brought water from the springs to build the crops. So the council finally decided that Mary was in fact not just the mother of Jesus, but mother of God, Jesus the God. So this was very interesting, because if it would have went the other way, crucifixion of Jesus would have been interesting. Now, since the council decided that Mary was in fact the mother of God, this is not good for Nestorius. He was stripped of his bishop title. He was also banned as a heresy, so not good news for him. Now, this is very interesting for Mary as a figure, or Saint Mary, because she was given so much power to be the mother of God, as opposed just to being the mother of a man, Jesus, a prophet. Very interesting, because then later she was even considered, in later years, the Queen of the Universe, what a title. And then also considered, the wife of God, which was interesting, because if she's the wife of God, that gives her so much power. And it really comes full circle here in Ephesus video here about, women and goddesses and deities, female figures being the gods, being the ones in charge. And it kind of goes full circle through Jesus into Mary. Now Catholics assume that Mary is, now I'm not Catholic, so correct me if I'm wrong if you're watching this and you are, but Catholics assume Mary was just a woman, was the mother of, Jesus, just a human. But she's also praised very highly. She's also prayed to, and people give dedications to her. So it seems weird that a human would get that, because usually those types of things, those prayers and stuff like that, are for gods only. Now, Islam and the Quran has a take on this. They mention that Jesus and God and the Trinity and stuff like that, no, there's only one true God. Jesus was a prophet, a great prophet in the religion, and through him, Mary got the scripture as well. But there's only one true God, don't get it twisted. So they really go after what they call the Trinity assumed. So they believe, kind of with Nestorius, that, hey, Mary was just a woman. Maybe she gave birth to Jesus, but it doesn't make her a God, definitely doesn't make her a wife of God. And that Islam is saying that it's kind of correcting Christianity in a way, saying that they kind of overexpanded their ideology of the Father, the Son, and the mother of the Son. Now, the Christians in the Bible have a theory as well. And the first mention of Jesus even talking about his mother, I believe it was in Mark. He was asked, who's your brother, who's your mother? And he said, those around me, those who do the will of God, are my mother and my brothers. Now, that's interesting because he didn't say who do the will of me, so it didn't imply he was God, and he didn't imply that his mom was Mary. Also, there's a lot of stories later in the Bible, but this is the first mention in Mark, and I believe the author was anonymous, so they don't really know. There's 4 Gospels of Mark, I believe, but this was the first account of him mentioning his mother and saying, my mother's who does the will of God, meaning the local people praying to God. Those are his brothers, those are his mother. So that kind of insinuates, kind of with Islam, that possibly Mary wasn't a god, a mother of God, or a wife of God. Now, the Christians, against the Roman rules, took every piece of the temple of Artemis down. I mean, it was just rubble anyways at that time, and they destroyed it. Really got rid of all the evidence of the religion before them, which was very interesting for them to kind of expand their religion and then build the Basilica of Saint Mary. Now, the end of the great Ephesus, or the kind of declining years, you know, they had earthquakes, they had the water, the harbor kind of just being full of mud and dirt and losing its water, so they lost a lot of trade that way, and also the Goths invasions, and eventually just kind of went out of existence. Kind of just people moved away into the towns surrounding Ephesus. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Basilica of Mary, where the Third Council of Ephesus happened, and where they decided that Mary was indeed the Mother of God, changed the course of Christianity. So, well, at least for Mary did, and gave her a lot more power than she probably would have if they decided the other direction, that she was just the mother of man. So, like and subscribe if you like these videos. Next week, we're headed to Mary's house, where she possibly spent the final years of her life. Also, just a way up the road from Ephesus, from where also her basilica is. And that being said, these videos hope to get better each week. I kind of don't have a plan. I'm kind of just going with it, trying to share some insight as I learn, share with you, and hopefully build a community where even maybe some of you guys can comment and even either expand my knowledge even some more. So that's it. Love you, Mush monks. If you like spirituality, if you like religion, if you like history and travel, there will be a combination of that coming up each week. So like and subscribe again, and you'll see us next week when we go to Mary's house.